Morning, everyone. Councilman Rasmussen here, coming to you with my update from our June 6th, 2022 council meeting. We had a relatively short agenda last night, or public agenda, though it ended up being quite a long meeting with some number of executive session things. So, but here's the basics, the high level items. First things first. Most folks know this. Smyrna at Night, our music festival downtown, is coming up very quickly. June 18th. It's going to be running from noon to 8 p.m. Most of the main commercial area downtown is going to be shut down. So this is Commerce Street from the Four Corners all the way up to past my place in the firehouse here. Main Street from Four Corners down to beyond South Street, as well as Market Street Plaza are going to be shut down for the day. There's going to be 3 stages this year, one on Main Street, one on Market Street, one on Commerce Street. Lots of bands. The town has been doing a great job of putting out and showcasing some of who the artists are. Some have been here before, some new bands, a great selection of music. There's going to be food trucks, there's going to be beverages, there's going to be desserts, all sorts of fun stuff for folks. So please make sure, come out, tell all your friends, bring everybody you can. Smyrna at Night, June 18th, noon to 8 p.m. I'll be running around. It's probably staffing our business here most of the time, but hope to run into lots of people while I'm doing whatever I have to do that day. So that's the big one. A lot of folks, it was great to see on Friday, this last Friday, when we had our first Friday night. This one was, fortunately, the weather cooperated with us and we got to have it out on Main Street as planned. Beautiful evening, lots of people, lots of folks came out. Music was great from Cecilia Grace. She's played here before, actually. I think she's played here at Painted Stave before as well. Really cool to see everybody, folks sitting on their porch, people sitting out in the street. It was a great night. Hopefully we'll have great weather like that for every one of our first Fridays going forward, though we can cross our fingers on that one. But those will be happening through September. So we've still got July, August, and September coming up. Keep an eye out for those. And thanks for everybody who came out on Friday night and had a little bit of fun with us out in the street. Few updates on things that are underway that I've mentioned before. I have mentioned that there's going to be work on the Lake Como spillway, that there is an issue with some of the valving on the dam that's going to have to be addressed. We're still working through how that's going to happen. We have some issues right now with figuring out the detours that will have to happen while work is happening there with DelDOT. So it has not moved forward yet, but when that gets scheduled, I'll make sure that I post it up here, because it will involve a detour down at the end of Main Street where it's going to connect with or cross over Lake Como Spillway and connect to Route 13. And so there will be a little bit of a traffic detour while that work is going on. Another thing that's going on, and most folks, if you drive down Main Street, you probably have seen a little bit of dust and other things going on. The parking lot. So the town is redoing the parking lot that has been behind what was the old Smyrna School District Administration building. It's been a number of things right there on Main Street. There's a parking facility right behind that, as well as an access point and more parking that comes in off of South Street close to the Health and Wellness building. That's under construction right now. It's going to be a much nicer parking lot. There's a lot of work that's been going on to get all of the ground stuff done, the stormwater management and those pieces, removing some dirt that was too soft and would eventually lead to problems in the like potholes and things like that in the parking lot. So we have to excavate a little bit more dirt than planned. But it should be, it should be at least at least base coated by Smyrna at Night. And we're going to have a lot of our artists and folks park there during that. And the hope is that by 4th of July, the parking lot there is entirely done. One of the questions I've gotten from folks is, why are you putting in a parking lot where there's also supposed to be a library? The town has been working very closely with the Friends of Duck Creek Library to make sure that any improvements that we do there are done in such a way as they enhance and speed up as much as possible the potential library construction. We haven't talked a lot about library in a while, but if all goes well, the Friends of Duck Creek Library should have, at the end of this legislative session, pretty much all the funding they need to construct a modern, awesome library in downtown Smyrna. That could start as early as the end of this year, depending on all of the permitting and design and those pieces. But it's neat to see that underway. Of course, we're working on improving the parking lot. We want to make sure we don't put money into the ground, basically, that is a waste. So trying to make sure we're doing the stormwater and doing the other things in line with what's going to be necessary for the library when it moves there. So soon, new parking downtown. It's going to improve the parking access for the health and wellness building, as well as everybody coming downtown. Not going to be ready for Smyrna at night. We had a number of delays that helped push that back, but should be ready at least by the 4th of July weekend for anybody who's coming downtown to hang out there. So those are the main administrative updates. As far as the agenda last night, we had a couple of presentations. One was by a group called the Help Initiative. I've got a little flyer from them, which is reversed here, so you wouldn't be able to read it. But so this is a program that's actually funded through some ARPA funding from the state. It's a partnership with police departments in a number of different communities to try and install outdoor lighting on homes where there are not enough street lights, or where there have been some identified crime or nighttime activities that could ideally be alleviated by a little bit more illumination. They presented to the town, talking with Chief James about sort of identifying areas where this program might fit, and they're working with a number of other towns here in the state to roll out some of this, as well as some things like counseling on energy efficiency for those homeowners, and doing some other sort of outreach work. So a neat program. If they begin to roll out in town and you see folks out installing these pieces, I'll let you know. Right now it's just the first conversation, sort of an introduction, but you can check it out. It's called Lights On Delaware Strong. It's run by the Help Initiative, and you might even see like little door hangers or stuff like that they've got that they're going to distribute once they're up and running. We also had a presentation from a woman who's recently moved to our community. She runs a project. I'm going to brutalize every part of the name, so I'm not even going to try and say the whole thing, but it's a project that does outreach to young mothers and young families in a few different counties and areas in North Africa, and she wanted to introduce us to the program that she's created, the types of activities that she supports, and let her know kind of what her needs are from any community. You'll likely see her maybe out setting up to promote her program, collect donations, those types of things. There's a specific piece she was discussing with us that is about postpartum baskets and support for young mothers who are leaving the hospital and often don't have the types of things that they need. So a neat program, not based here in Smyrna. It's an international program, mostly working with Liberia. But it's neat to know that this is a member of our community doing something really cool to support the country that she grew up in. And you'll likely hear more about that. The business side of the meetings, we had a couple of different items. One, we had a couple of small grants that we approved, one to the League of Local Governments to sponsor an activity to host basically a reception here as part of the League of Local Governments meeting, and a small grant for the National Federation of Women Legislators. Sorry, that's the one that we're sponsoring, a reception for the National Federation of Women Legislators, and then a little bit of support for the June League of Local Governments meeting. There's a lot of different municipalities, a lot of different folks that come together. We try and share and learn from each other. So it's a small contribution from the town to help support, I think, professional development for leaders across the state. We had a presentation and a little bit of discussion about a what's called a TAP Streetscape program. So it's Transportation Alternative Programs. It's run by DelDOT. It's a program that helps communities fund some of the design and engineering work associated with streetscape improvements. So what we were talking about was that Obviously, there's been a lot of work done on Main Street in downtown, pretty soon to start the North Main Street part of that project. But we really haven't done any streetscape improvements from Route 13 up Commerce Street until it turns into Smyrna Clayton Boulevard. It's about 8 blocks of distance there. Some of the utilities underground were done years ago, but things like sidewalks, safety improvements, street trees, light posts, those types of things have not been done. This is a grant program. We're going to apply for it. It's a competitive program, so it's about us getting in there, making our case. But ideally, it can fund the design portion of that work, so that takes that off the town. And then when it comes to some of the engineering piece, it will fund 100% of the concept. When it comes to the engineering and then ultimately the build out, there's a match that's expected from the town. That's about 20% match for the engineering piece and another 20% match for the build out piece. It doesn't cover anywhere near enough money that could do that entire section of Commerce Street, but it may be an opportunity to get pieces of it started and allow us to continue to build that out. A lot of folks know this, that Commerce Street is a state road. Ultimately, it's DelDOT that's responsible for the paving and things like that of the road. So we want to make sure we coordinate with them as much as possible. If they're going to be doing work, we want to take advantage of that and have a plan in place that allows us to maximize any sort of streetscape improvements we would do at the time. So that's going to move forward with an application. As I said, competitive, so it may not happen, but we're going to begin to work on it. And then the last thing was really and we've done a couple of these. We were removing a handicap parking sign that's on West Commerce Street. There's a few of these that get placed over the years. Somebody lives in a house that would like to have a handicap parking spot. Eventually they move, and that spot just sits there and it becomes unused, and we get requests from the neighbors to remove it. So that was another action we took last night. That was about it. Like I said, pretty short agenda. Just going back, if you don't have it already on your schedule, Smyrna at Night's coming up June 18th, the big event downtown. We're going to be 3 stages, one right out in front of our place here in the firehouse, one on Market Street, one down on Main Street, food trucks, vendors, music, great times, noon to 8, so make sure it's on your schedule, and I hope to see you all there. So take care, have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll be in touch. Thanks.